It's now 5:55 p.m. Still Friday evening, and before leaving Priscilla's apartment, I checked the traffic view, and it's not good. I think I'm giving myself enough time to get to Factor by 7 o'clock, but I'm not looking forward to this drive. Alright, is he going to run through the red light? Of course he is, because that's what most people do with these lights. There's some kind of signs on the left there, and they're all knocked down on the road. Probably should try to open up Obama Phone 5 on Traffic View, because I got a feeling I'm going to need it. I don't expect that I'm going to get enough from KTAR if I try to listen to KTAR to really know what's going on with traffic. So Factor is located near downtown, or also referred to as Old Town Goodyear. It's on Yuma Road, which is on the same alignment as Buckeye Road after the old Highway 85 curves and goes off at a southwest angle. So it's on that alignment, about a quarter mile, a half mile-ish west of Litchfield Road. So not as far as the commute that I did to go to the Williams-Sonoma Furniture Warehouse, but substantially farther than any other job that I've driven to for Winolo. And by the way, yeah, this is a Winolo gig. Kind of surprised me. It came in, I don't know that I mentioned it much yesterday, but I started getting notifications right as I was getting out of my car and heading into work at Hertz yesterday. And lately what I've been doing is I've been trying to prepare myself a bag of food. So I have food and beverages already with me. And when I get there, I've been putting them, because I've had an issue with people snagging drinks from me in the refrigerator in the main break room. So when I come in, since I park near the break room in the mechanic shop, and I work directly with the mechanic shop as a maintenance driver, I've been putting my bag of refrigerated snacks and beverages in the refrigerator in that break room. That break room's a whole lot nicer and a whole lot less used. So looking at the traffic view, the Loop 202 looks terrible right through here. And I definitely don't want to get on the 10. There's an accident on the 10 between 16th and 7th Streets. It's looking like my best bet would probably be to get on the 51 South, which that on-ramp is actually labeled as I-10 East. And technically I'm traveling on the I-10 East, but I'd be going straight south to... Dang, I got another red light. Straight south to... Well, this guy has no taillights on. That looks like one of those little cars that isn't sold in the United States. They're only sold in Mexico, and somebody drove over here. Could be wrong about that, but it doesn't look like a car that I see on the regular, and it's smaller than most American cars. So yeah, get on that, take it to probably actually drive as if I'm going to work at Hertz. Get on Sky Harbor Circle over to Buckeye and go across on Buckeye. Although it's also tempting to go on Washington to 7th Street and then 7th Street over to Grant and drive across on Grant. I don't think there's anything going on downtown that would make Grant not function. This is a long commute to do without doing freeways, but the freeways right now between here and there are just absolute gridlock. So. But I got myself a full hour at 6:01 right now. So I, without going into too many intimate details, I had a really great afternoon at Priscilla's place. And yeah, this is actually the best afternoon I've spent with her in a really, really long time. Yeah, everything good about this. And the most unexpected thing that happened while we were laying in her bed together is opened up my phones kind of to check what time it is and to look at traffic and of course, you know, checking YouTube, and saw something I absolutely didn't expect in my YouTube feed, and that was a brand new music video from the Beatles. And I'm sure by the time I get this vlog posted, new Beatles song is going to be old news. But I just heard it for the first time. Only heard it on my iPhone speaker. I'm really eager to hear it on something a little more high fidelity. And that's going to have to wait till after work, because I definitely want to record this entire drive. Even though I know it's probably going to be longer than what I want to post as a vlog. Oh, that is the arrow that I want. I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm trying, though. I'm going for it. No, I definitely did not make that. I'm not chancing that. So close, but yet so far. That's all right. I got a red light. I can look a little closer at traffic. Yeah, 10 is a mess. There's a wreck on it. Washington to downtown is moving smoothly. Grant is always just fine. There's never any traffic on Grant. Grant actually doesn't look bad to I-17 and then maybe back on the 10, although the 10 goes to shit at around 43rd Avenue, so yeah. I didn't expect that to be doable. Oh well. So yeah, new Beatles song. I'm eager to hear it on something a little more high fidelity than my iPhone speaker. I might listen to it in the car on the way home. I do have an auxiliary cable. Not that my car stereo is anything particularly high fidelity in the Saturn, but it's better than the iPhone speaker. The analog audio output on Obama Phone 5 isn't bad. In fact, so far that's the only thing I've listened to the new Stones album on. I've yet to listen to the whole album from beginning to end, but I've been listening to chunks of it when I've been at home using the auxiliary cable from Obama Phone 5 into my bedroom system. I need to get my computer set back up again. I'm not sure if I'll find time to do it this weekend. So I'm working a 10-hour shift tonight at Factor and then a 9-hour shift tomorrow. This is that on-ramp I was talking about. It feels like you're getting on the 51, but it's actually an on-ramp to the 10. And it merges right here. I hardly ever use this ramp. But I used to drive this ramp constantly during my short tenure at the Domino's Pizza there on Thomas Road near 24th Street. Still disappointed with how that job ended. Had had it not been such a shit show, that last shift that I worked with Jesus, I feel like I could have got into a regular groove of working 2 nights a week with Samantha and been pretty happy over there. But c'est la vie. I do need to get myself a regular gig because I know I'm not going to be able to count on these shifts at Factor coming through Winolo, but I'm glad they happened. So I did make it through the month with all my bills paid, except for I haven't addressed my electricity bill, and that's stuff I definitely need to get on. Because I've gone months, several months, without paying on that, and a lot of that is statutory. There's a law that when there's regular heat advisories, the power company can turn you off. And the last time, and it's roughly a month ago, that I called, wow, this lane is really congested, that I called SRP, they said that they, by default, put everybody on a payment plan. And she explained to me what it was, but it's been long enough, I really don't remember. I'm pretty confident I got enough cash, though, right now, with the direct deposit I just got from MLS yesterday to cover it. And oh wow, the vehicle just went on the freeway, apparently didn't know what lane he was trying to be in. I would imagine the bulk of the traffic I'm following right now is people trying to get to the rental car center to return their cars. Feels so weird going this way when I'm not going to work over at Hertz. This just seems to be the route that makes the most sense, given the state of traffic on all the freeways between here and Goodyear. So right after watching the new music video for the Beatles and listening to the new Beatles song, I read the video description, which gave a brief synopsis of how the song came to be. In a nutshell, it originates from the same John Lennon demo tape that was recorded shortly before he died, that Real Love and Free as a Bird came from. Now, Real Love and Free as a Bird were both done in the mid-1990s to coincide with the release of Beatles Anthology 1 and 2. And at that point, 3 out of 4 Beatles were still alive. Well, at that point, they were also trying to complete this song. I think it's called Now and Then. But the demo was John Lennon singing while playing the piano. And at that time, the technology didn't exist to separate the sound of his vocal, because it was just a straight demo recording. It wasn't a multi-track recording. So the recording of the piano and the recording of the vocal were together, just mixed together from an ambient mic. It was never intended to be something released. It was just something that John Lennon was working on. And at that time in the mid-90s, there was no technology available that could really separate and isolate the vocals, not without destroying them. And while they did try to make a song then with the rest of the Beatles, and at that point in time, George Harrison laid down some tracks for it, but yeah, the technology just wasn't there. And they ended up giving up on it. They weren't able to get it to a point where they liked what it sounded like. So I'm not sure who got the motivation to try to do something new now, but basically now using AI, it's reasonably easy. And after I watched the video of the Beatles, I watched Rick Beato's analysis and his opinion on the new Beatles song. And I can't think of anybody on YouTube that breaks songs down better than Rick Beato. The guy's absolutely brilliant. If you've never watched Rick Beato before, check him out. He's an older, experienced music producer, used to have a band himself, and the guy just really, really knows music and has an ear for it well beyond most musicians. And he can hear a song and he can break down all the chords, all the notes. He just hears it and does a great breakdown of the song. But the main thing he talks about is how the piano and vocals were broken apart, and then to give an example of how easy it is to do with modern technology, he records himself singing the song and playing the piano as a straight recording, and then he drags it into this AI, and the AI splits it into 2 isolated tracks, one of his vocal, which sounds pretty awful. Rick Beato's a lot of things. A great singer is not one of them. But you know what? It's real. And to see the way he did it was impressive. But yeah, it breaks down a track of just his vocal and just his piano. So that, I guess, was the missing link to be able to get this put together. And Paul McCartney did a lot of work on it, and on the new Beatles song. And of course, they got Ringo to do the drums. So interesting stuff, for sure. So I was a little concerned as to why I was offered less money this time around at Factor than the last time. And looking a little more closely, because I'll be honest, I didn't look very closely when I accepted the job. I just saw it was Factor. I'm like, oh, that's the new facility from HelloFresh. Yes, I'm already qualified for this. I've already done a HelloFresh onboarding. And I'm just trying to, it's been slim pickings on Wonolo, and I'm sure I'm not the only Wonoloer that is just needing money and just waiting for the app to throw something out there. I was watching shifts come in, and as quickly as I saw night shifts offered for Friday and Saturday night, I just grabbed them. I didn't look at any details. I just saw, yeah, starting at 7 p.m. That's night shift. I'm on that. I also saw it offered for Sunday, and as tempting as it is to grab Sunday, and yes, it'd certainly be more money than I make over at Hertz, they really rely on me over at Hertz. It is always busy as hell on Sunday, and I just see that area falling apart without me, and I'm not gonna leave them high and dry to work one shift where I get more money. Just not worth it. Not as valued as I feel over there. And I do genuinely feel if I stick around long enough doing what I'm doing, that I could eventually turn it into a good job or even a management job with Hertz. I feel like I'm impressing enough of the right people that work for Hertz to make that happen. So I'm looking at the traffic on I-10. It looks like I'll be fine to 51st Avenue if I take the 17 up to the 10. But yeah, there's a lot of congestion where the 202 joins the 10 headed westbound, and then again where the 101 joins the 10. So I think I'm just gonna, I totally said I was gonna take Washington and then come across on Grant. I just went down to Buckeye out of habit. And of course, construction here is for the light rail expansion southbound along Central. So not too much of that to deal with. Wasn't too worried about that. But yeah, it looks like my best bet is to just stay the course on Buckeye. At this point, I don't think there's any point in me even looking at my traffic view anymore. Just going to enjoy the ride on Buckeye Road. I haven't gone this far west on Buckeye Road in a very, very long time, so I'm kind of looking forward to this. Of course, there's not going to be much to see because it's dark. Interesting bit of Phoenix roadway history coming up here. So Buckeye Road has always been a thoroughfare through here, but there is a point coming up where this stretch of Buckeye Road used to curve to the right and have a stop sign with what was US Route 85. And that's not here. I think this is 15th Avenue. Yeah, it's 15th Avenue. It's always been 15th Avenue. But at this next intersection coming up where there's not a traffic light, as you see the vehicle stopped off on the right, this is 17th Avenue. Or actually, no, that's not. Never mind. Right there, where you see that vehicle on the right there, that's 17th Avenue. And yeah, this used to curve to the right and go to a stop sign. And then 17th Avenue did a curve, and as you see the little piece that kind of merges on the right there, that used to be a free flow curve route of US 85. So US 85 went south from Van Buren Street on 17th Avenue, which is odd because 17th Avenue is just a side street now, but once upon a time that used to be a US highway before the interstate system. And then this was Highway 85. So once upon a time, this was the highway to LA that we're on right now. And there's really not much left along this road that would give you insight into that. But it's certainly something I remember as a child. As a child, used to take regular trips to California to visit my mother and my father's extended family, both in Northern California and Southern California. So many trips to California as a kid. And I-10 was not complete the entire way. So usually the road taken out of town, especially when I was a little kid and lived in this general area, was driving out Buckeye Road, which was US 85. Yeah, this was the main road between Phoenix and LA. Of course, Phoenix was a much smaller city back then. And once you got on the other side of 43rd Avenue, there really wasn't much. Now this is the warehouse district, and we're going to be pretty much driving through. Well, I mean, right now we're in the ghetto, but once I get on the other side of 35th Avenue, it's going to be pretty much be warehouse district until we get into Old Town Goodyear. And I'm going to be driving right by the main HelloFresh warehouse that I usually work at. Speaking of the main HelloFresh warehouse that I usually work at, last week when I went out with Malika, who still works there, we were talking about HelloFresh, and she told me that they're shifting away from using warehouse staffing companies like Manpower and some of the other ones that I talked to, but ultimately decided not to go forward with, and hiring people directly through their own HR. So I've been thinking about coming out here and applying, but I absolutely don't want to work anything more than two shifts a week. So if all they're offering is full-time employment, even though I know I'd make a whole lot better money than I do working for MLS, I absolutely love my job at the rental car center. And there's a lot of peace of mind that I get from knowing that my main 40-hour-a-week full-time job is close enough to home that I can get to it without a car. I mean, not that I'm having any issues with the Saturn right now, other than, the transmission and the occasional overheating if I try to drive on slow roads and turn up the air conditioning. But I'm just one sloppy, everybody who drives. It's just one person's really bad mistake from having my car totaled. And you never know if that's going to be covered by insurance. And I could see if I got my car totaled, me getting a check for what they feel the value of this car is, and that simply not being enough money for me to buy another car. So yeah, there's a lot of peace of mind that comes from knowing that I have a full-time job that I really enjoy, that's on a schedule that I like, that I can get to, if I have to, on foot. passing on the right like this. And for some reason, the guy in the left lane feels like driving slow. Now, this is such a deja vu of all the times I drove this route to go to Amazon GYR3. Speaking of Amazon, oh my gosh, I am getting so many emails and YouTube ads encouraging me to apply to work at Amazon. And I'm actually kind of considering it. As much as I know about Amazon, I know that I could get in as a flex associate and have the control I need on my hours, that I wouldn't have to worry about it impacting my job over at MLS.